Well, a big break in a case that baffled the nation. A 28-year-old criminal justice student is now in custody after being arrested yesterday in Pennsylvania in connection to the murder of 4 University of Idaho students. The man taken into custody has been identified as 28-year-old Brian Koberger. He was arrested near the Pocono Mountains, thousands of miles away from the crime scene, and faces 4 counts of premeditated first-degree murder. Steve Rogers, retired lieutenant with the Nutley, New Jersey Police Department, joins us now. He is also a retired military intelligence officer assigned to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. Steve, I'm so glad to have you here on this big news. This is a huge development. Why do you think, though, it took law enforcement so long to get a suspect, and what do you think helped them crack this case?
Well, the major element that helped them crack the case was the vehicle. That was something that I guess they did not expect to have as part of their evidence. So the vehicle, they did a lot of work on tracking down that type of vehicle. They found it at this suspect's home. And Rita, I can tell you this, the investigation is far from over. To begin with, they're going to be looking for the motive. We don't know that yet, although you don't need that for a conviction. But was there anyone else involved? Did anyone else have information that they withheld from the police? And where is the murder weapon? Where is the knife? So it took them as long as it took because they were trying to put a lot of pieces together. And may I add, Rita, and I said this last time, I believe, when I was on your broadcast, a lot of distractions. Too many people came to the microphone. Too many people had something to say. I'm talking about from the coroner to the mayor to investigators. So they were distracted by a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, thank God they were able to get this guy off the streets.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. There were so many mixed messages. And at one point they said it was a targeted attack. Then it wasn't. Real quick also, Steve, too, when this guy was arrested, there's reports that he said, was anybody else arrested? Do you think that that's a red herring, or could that be suggesting somebody else was involved?
Well, it certainly could be suggesting that someone else involved, because if you recall, I believe during an interview with the police chief, he was asked right out, is there anyone else involved? And he kind of just skirted over that question, went on to talk about other things. So this is something the police may be looking at, I'm sure are looking at as they move forward. Let's see where this goes. I just hope that a lawyer doesn't come in and try to plead an insanity case with this guy. He was a very smart individual. He's a college grad. He was going for a PhD in criminology. Let's hope that the evidence that they gather will be solid and that will prevent any type of escape from any, the death penalty. That's a death penalty state. He doesn't escape from a heavy sentence.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, you bring up the criminal justice background. That just stood out to me when I heard that he was a PhD student. Indeed, he was at the University of Washington in Pullman, which is about 10 miles away from where this rental home was, where the 4 students were brutally killed. And this guy even posted questions on Reddit. He was asking those who've committed crimes to respond and help him seek to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing acts. Now, remember, as I talked about, he was studying criminology. How do you interpret that? How do you get into the mindset of why he may have been doing that? Indeed, he's the prime suspect, obviously, now.
You know, Rita, we always tell people if you see something, say something. And in addition to what you just showed the audience, you know what's going through my mind? Did he do a thesis? Did he do a paper? Did he do a term paper that would lead one to believe that there's something terribly wrong here with this individual? So the only way that you can get into the mind of this suspect is to bring all of these things that he has written to a criminal psychologist, and they could build a psychological profile from there. But I just wonder if during this investigation, they're going to find a lot more written, maybe to some professors over a few years. And we're going to find that we had somebody going down a road that obviously led him to do this.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot more details to come. Steve Rogers, thank you very much for being here, Steve. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you.
And Rita, thank you for the work you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And I'm just glad that the families are now getting some answers. That's the most important thing. Thank you very, very much. And everybody, another